Welcome, welcome. You're back with us in See the Stories on the 3R News Show. Before we jump into our talk show today, let me ask my fellow host, Jasmine, what does Kartini Day mean to you? Since today is Kartini Day.
Exactly. Where obviously it's women's emancipation, but also it shows a great strength what women can do together and also individually. And we have to thank our mother too. So for all of our mothers watching here, hello. Thank you so much.
Happy Kartini Day.
Exactly, happy Kartini Day, and thank you so much for being a strong voice to our confidence. And speaking of mothers, there's going to relate to the next story.
We have the brief history of the special day, Kartini Day. Raden Ajeng Kartini Joyo Adiningrat, also known as R.A. Kartini, was born to a noble family in Mayong, Jepara, Central Java on April the 21st, 1879. At that time, Indonesian women weren't able to experience proper education due to their social status. However, with her enthusiasm, spirit, and support from her husband, Raden Adipati Joyo Diningrat, she established a school for Indonesian women known as Kartini School.
Kartini has passed away at 25 years old on September the 17th, 1904 in Rembang, Central Java. 7 years after her death, one of her correspondents, Jacques H. Abandon, published her letters into a book called Habis Gelap Terbitlah Terang, otherwise known as From Darkness into Light. On May the 2nd, 1964, first Indonesian President Sukarno declared April 21st, which is Kartini's birth date, as Kartini Day to honor her dedication. Now, speaking of Kartini and women empowerment, let's celebrate Kartini Day by reading a short story made by mothers around the world. Joining us today in the studio, Riani Indrianti and Titi Wahyuni, who will share to us the story behind the colors of the mother's book. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us today in the studio.
Thank you so much. Welcome to our studio.
Welcome.
It's good to be back. Thank you.
Yes, especially you. Welcome back to Indonesia.
Thank you.
Since you live in Portugal. So what inspired you both to embark on the stories of motherhood, the colors of mothers?
The writing itself is something that is not new to me. So I've done it for quite some time. I have a degree in journalism.
That's nice.
And over the years, I have kind of on and off practicing my writing skills. And I have written for Jakarta Post and then also to different outlets. And for several years, I've been the editor-in-chief for a magazine, an online magazine, also focusing on bringing the hidden gems to the service.
Wow.
But the writing of the book itself, actually, one of my ways to pay tribute and honor the role of
Motherhood.
of motherhood.
Yes.
You know, we can't deny that it doesn't matter which mother, where they're from, and then what their profession is. But once we ask them that specific question, what makes your mother extraordinary? Then we get a range of stories, right? So it doesn't matter if it's a good relationship or it's a bad or a patchy one.
Yeah.
But the topic of motherhood is a soft spot for everyone.
Always gets it,
right?
I agree. Yes.
So I was born and raised by an extraordinary mother. And despite all the challenges and all the limitations, my mother managed to raise me and my 5 siblings.
Wow, so six members of the
family.
How does it feel being in a big family like that?
Siblings.
For me, it was normal. It goes back again to all the this cultural belief that we have in Indonesia or in Java. That the more children you have, then the more prosperity.
More children, more wealth, they say.
It doesn't apply to the current situation.
The current economy.
Changed, right? Yes. So for me, it was just my way to honor the great work that mothers do all around the world, not only in Indonesia, but also elsewhere.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I want to do by doing the book is really to put and make a platform for our unsung heroes. At least that's how I see the role of mothers, right?
Very sweet.
Sometimes we focus on the individual of you, for example.
Oh,
you're a
that's
great
sweet. Thank
role
you.
model for a lot of women. But sometimes we forget that behind you, There
Yeah.
is your
There's also
mother.
and there's also a vulnerable part of every mother, right?
Exactly,
Yes.
Yeah.
exactly.
Their own
And
struggles as well.
Yes.
there are struggle. They have conquered all the impossible things.
Yeah.
And to me, maybe it's about time that we talk about this topic openly, and that's how I came about working on creating a book like this.
Well, that's very amazing for you to have that sort of
beautiful.
thought and process. I was wondering, because you were talking about gathering these voices of motherhood from around the world, how did you manage to do all of that? How did you know, okay, I'm going to take this story from this country and so forth? What was the process like?
Well, in the beginning, I had no specific idea in mind that I want to have 22 stories or I wanted to have 15 different countries. It was just me, and I'm using my personal connections because most of the contributors are friends since when I was at the university in Jakarta, and also friends from when I studied in the US.
I see.
And then friends from work as well. I have people coming from all different parts
Parts of
of
life.
I see.
roles that I play in life.
Because it's like from 15 countries. 22
Correct.
stories from 15 countries.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
people,
that's a lot. And so what about Mbak Titi? Maybe you want to add some perspectives to the stories.
So we've known each other since 2019. So
Yeah.
we met actually in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So we had lunch, and she told me about her idea about bringing the story of her mother to the book. So she showed me her first draft. Actually, she already started it. And I was already blown away with the way she writes. She expresses her emotion. It's very raw.
Yeah.
And it's tragic, but she writes it in a beautiful way, and I felt compelled to join her.
Yeah,
And
it's very relatable.
really
Yeah.
relatable because all mothers, they've gone through so much, all hardships and struggles.
But also the joy, we cannot forget.
And the love.
Yeah, that covers everything.
Yeah.
The joy and the love.
Yeah.
That's why it calls the colors of mother.
Right.
There's
So
no
one
particular color of
yeah.
mother, but it ranges from the lightest to
Yes.
the darkest
Yes.
and everything in between, right?
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And you gave me your book, and I managed to write one story. It's about a bed of broccoli. Because the title is very interesting. So can you tell me the story behind this title, The Bed of Broccoli? And
So it's a bed of broccoli because my mother, I was born in the slope of Merapi.
Yeah.
So the whole village, that people grow vegetables there, and everyone sells vegetables just like my mother, and that's how she raised us and sent us to school and to university by selling vegetables to the market. She does it every night, even to this day.
wow,
Even to this
Yes.
day, she does it every night. She just doesn't want to stop because the market needs her as much as she needs the market.
actually, that sentence stuck with me until now. yeah.
So
Because it's so touching. Like she doesn't want to leave her root back in her hometown, and it actually reminds me of my great grandparents as well in Klaten. They were farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really deep in my heart as well.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
So that's how the story goes, and it's really it's just so beautiful. And I still remember vividly how it went, and I was with her the whole night. And each time I went to school, so I joined her to the market before she gave me the money to school.
Yeah.
So I wanted to help her, but she decided to ask me to take a rest instead, so that I can focus on school the next day.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate from her.
Well, that just shows how much your mother has contributed financially, emotionally,
Yep.
and to your growth as well. So
Yes.
you feel the amount of respect for your mothers.
Yeah.
So that's a very beautiful story. But I want
agree.
to go back to the book, if I can, real quick. So with the economy of today's world and with the global politics that's been going around and how tensions are really, really tough in these day and age, how did you manage to get perspectives from these countries such as Iran and Ukraine? Because those are very, they're far away, that's one thing. And the second thing is it's filled with war.
Yeah.
So, what made you go to them, and what did you realize from their stories differentiate from our stories here, for example?
So the story from Ukraine, that was the one where the mother of the contributor, actually she still lives in Ukraine, but the contributor herself, she lives in Poland. So one of the things that she shared in the beginning of her sharing the story was, I got woken up in cold sweat because my mother called at 6 o'clock in the morning, and she never does it because she knows that I work in Ukraine. So something must have happened.
Yep.
And she knew
I got
that
goosebumps just from
Yeah.
something bad had happened, and she just said, it has started.
the war.
So the contributor said, I know that the day would come, I just didn't realize that it would come
Now,
on this day.
They knew
So
what was coming.
They knew what was coming. And to me, that was one of the most difficult stories that I had to work on. It was important for me to make sure that I honor the honesty of the contributor.
Yep.
And I also want to make sure that the voice that she wants to convey through her story
Yeah.
is intact and it sounds like who she is.
Yeah.
That was kind of my first rule that I kept all the time. Although the stories are 22, including mine.
Yeah.
But I want all of them not to sound like me. I want all of them
Yes.
to have
Their own,
voice
their own colors,
of
right?
individual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why, for example, I love the question of, so how do you make sure that the culture aspect of the story is still there? How do you make sure that
Yep.
you don't dilute in your expression of the story?
And
Yeah,
your
yeah.
own personal.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I wanted to do that.
Yep.
And so in terms of protecting the identity and then the cultural aspect of the story, I did a combination of several things.
Yep.
First, I honor whatever story that they want to tell about their mothers. But in terms of giving voice and color to the cultural part, then I did extensive research.
Wow,
For example,
that's
I have never been to,
Yeah.
to Iran. I have never
Yeah,
been
yeah.
to
Pakistan.
Pakistan. I have
yeah.
never been to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So how do I get that
The
image
grasp, yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
translate
yeah,
it
yeah,
into
yeah.
words? So one of
yeah.
the struggles was to make sure that they all saying the same thing.
Yeah, that's what makes your stories amazing, because in several pages we can learn so much, not just about the motherhood, but also the cultural heritage,
Yeah, where they
of
are,
them,
the
yeah,
language.
and also the the condition of the living in every situation that they're facing. And also, how does your story help people who don't understand motherhood yet to understand it better?
Yeah. And that's also one of my most favorite questions that people often ask. I'm not a mother. How am I supposed to understand all the
That's what
stories
I was
that you
thinking,
have,
because
right?
I'm not married yet, I'm not a mother.
Yeah.
But you have a mother, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
So-
I love her dearly.
Right. So I think that everyone that we talk to, if we ask them just one simple question, what makes your mother extraordinary? They will come up with all different stories.
Yeah.
But I think that the book is special in a way that it can be read by virtually anyone.
Yes.
So for example, you are not yet a mother, but you already have the image of what kind of mother your mother was and still is.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And to me, that is beautiful. But if you are a mother
Yeah.
yourself, Maria, so
Yeah.
you know you have specific meaning
Yeah,
and special
yeah.
place in your heart about
Yes.
your mother.
Yes.
And that's why the book is so relatable. Even if it's read by a father or a husband. One of the reviewers of the book, he said that I read the book together with my wife in bed. And the first thing that he asked was, if you are asked by our children, will they be able to share the same positive and admiring version of fatherhood the way that I will be portrayed as a mother?
It's so
And to me, that was
so, and so empathetic of the child, right?
right, yeah.
That was emotional. I don't know. I'm like,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
eyes are tearing up a little bit. Oh my gosh. Oh, back to the question.
Yes, you
No,
have to go back.
because she had like a brilliant monologue there.
Yeah.
I was just lost in her eyes.
Yeah.
What are the challenges of writing these stories? Because as you said earlier, you know, you have to grasp the cultures. You don't know what it feels like to live in these places of very different lives than you are living. What are some challenges that you had to do and research, as you said, to make this book happen?
I think for me as a writer, I know how I work. I know what kind of condition do I need to be mentally and
Yep.
physically to be able to produce something that speaks to the heart. I
Yep.
think if I may categorize myself, I'm the kind of writer that can write something where when the writing or the story has a soul. I need to
Yeah,
see,
I agree.
I need to see
Yeah.
something in
It
the
has
story.
magical.
The perspectives
Magical touch.
really
Yeah.
open up
Yes.
our hearts.
Right.
Even just one story, I feel a lot about the bed of broccoli, like the
And you feel
perseverance
like you're
of a
there.
mother. Yeah, like the perseverance of the
Yeah.
mother, and the dear love of a child to the mother, and even the faithfulness of a work that she's been doing for life.
Yeah.
That's what I get from just one simple story, right? I cannot wait to finish the book.
There's 24
Her own story is.
Yeah, I have to read it.
The first one is just
It's
so.
amazing. Yeah.
I cried.
I feel like I will cry if I read it.
Yeah.
Like, even just sitting here with you guys.
And I will never forget the moment. So, Uni, and together with one of the contributors who lives in the Netherlands, she also has one of the most heartbreaking stories
Yeah.
I have ever
Yeah.
read in my entire life. So when they came and visit me in Porto, I brought them to our home office and I just sat them both in front of the computer and I showed the story of Johanna, of our friends. And when I returned, both of them were in tears.
Oh,
And it
I
was
can imagine.
something that, but I didn't take any picture or anything. For
Yeah.
me, it's not about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin the moment. I want them to
Feel
see
the
the
Yes.
story. I
Yes.
want them, because
I agree.
for me, I think that is the true test of whether I'm doing a good job or not.
Yep.
And you
If
did
the-
a great job.
If the story speaks to you and speaks to other contributors,
Yep.
that means that I'm doing my job well.
Yeah, I think you really did your job.
Wow. I mean, even just from your experiences as in journalism, as you said, having your own blog and, being in Jakarta Post, I think you said, how did that help you make this book happen? Because the world of journalism for news, for example, is very different from
Yep.
a book.
Well, I look at it as a time for me to sharpen my pencil. I mean, yes, I graduated from a journalism degree, but it took me years until I
Yeah.
have the confidence to
Yeah.
really put something in writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I started out with something simple. I
Yep.
started out with something that was close to my heart,
Yeah.
and it worked. And then from
Yeah.
then on, then it's just a continuation of me expressing my opinion and how I see the world, how I put meaning behind lives. For me, writing is something that I need to do it from a good space.
Yeah.
I need to do it from a good place. Otherwise, I will not be able to convey the message.
Yeah.
Natural.
Yeah.
All these
Natural.
emotional
Yeah.
topics.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to treat it with such a
Respect.
Respect.
Yeah.
That was key to everything that I did.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds
Yeah.
all very exciting, but
Yes.
we'll be right back. And for the next See the Stories, we'll continue after the break and we'll talk more about this book. And so don't go anywhere and stay tuned still.
Wow.